there's not a lot of times, guys, and you know this, being former players, there's not a lot of times where like a loss teaches you more than a win. But I think Arkansas maybe left Chicago with at least a better idea of where they stand. They showed long stretches of poise there, trailed by 12 at one point, and then led by 7 too. Coach Cal said they were more connected in this game than they had been this season. Rebounding was a huge problem in this game as well. I think Duke was like +8 on the boards or something like that, 12 offensive rebounds in this game as well, which didn't help them. But the fact they were able to kind of hold serve there and deal with some of the length and physicality that Duke has on the perimeter, I think showed me something, Latula. What do you make of Arkansas and then putting up a fight in this game, as well as their perspective going forward? By the way, we talk a lot about like the freshmen this year, Caleb Wilson, Debanza, the Boozers, of course. But how about Darius Acuff? How about Malik Thomas? I mean, they showed me something in this game.
They did. And I think what you can come out of this looking at, if you're Cal, is he's just wanted, especially, I'll even start with the bigs. I mean, the reason why Ewan in particular, I think Cal's been on Ewan. He wants to get more out of him defensively, because he knows if he can get more out of him defensively, then they can play a little bit differently offensively. But Cal's talking about them being connected. They were connected through their effort for large stretches of this game. And I think that's where Arkansas wins this year, is just through the havoc that they create. I mean, they have to be, it's kind of reminiscent of some of the Cal Memphis teams, where it's just an onslaught of like Billy Richmond and getting into you, turning you over, playing fast, getting out on the break. And then I think the challenge for this Arkansas team is like the time and situation, the time and score, where things have to, I think about like with a quarterback, it's like you can throw the deep ball, you can maybe scramble with the ball, but can you make those like layered throws? And I think that's just the best way I can describe it with Arkansas, is like making the layered throws in like that 8-yard little late game where, you maybe have to settle in and get a really good offensive possession in the half court. It's not just full steam, get downhill, fast break, early ball screen, dribble drive. Like, how can Darius Acuff and some of these other guys, and DJ Wagner, can they really set the table in big moments? Because that's where you see some of these teams where like they're so good in the first 35 minutes of the game, and then things get kind of bogged down when you really have to get very quality possessions. And I keep going back to it. They have 2 freshmen that are their highest usage players. And they're the only team that can say that in the top 40 on KenPom. And that's a challenge. And that's going to come with natural growing pains. So I just want to see them continue to evolve, especially in those first half situations and late game situations. And if they can turn that corner, you're talking about not only just an NCAA tournament team, but I think a team that can win multiple games in the tournament.
Yeah, and they got to get more out of their front court, man. Like, you can't. You got 40 minutes combined out of Nick Pringle and Malik Ewan, and I think there were 4 rebounds all told between the 2 of them. That can't happen. Like, those guys have to provide you some level of production. And Cal talked about this in the preseason, right? And you're not getting it here. One thing that I'm kind of like #noticing with this group, and I don't know if it's a thing yet, but I'm kind of noticing it. DJ Wagner played 16 minutes. He wasn't in foul trouble. It wasn't like he had a boatload of turnovers. Played 16 minutes. I think moving forward, the best lineup this team can put out there is going to be with Acuff and with Malik Thomas, because I just think that the way that this team is built, like you said, Mike, you need a couple of guys that can go out there and create something out of nothing, and that's not what DJ is. And I wonder how that is going to be received if the guy that was supposed to be your leader, that you brought to media day, that is the veteran that's been with Cal for now 3 seasons, how is he going to respond if he ends up seeing some of his minutes and some of the crunch time, important playing time minutes go to these other freshmen? That's going to be something that Cal kind of has to manage.
And that's exactly, and I had mentioned it on a previous talking about Arkansas earlier in the season, the chemistry and the psychological aspect of Carter Knox returning, of DJ Wagner returning. And in your mind, I don't care, even if you think you have highly touted, this is just how a lot of these guys operate because they're very confident individuals. Even if you have highly touted freshmen coming in, you're still thinking about the best outcome of your role, even without them. And now they come in, they are those highest usage guys. and what type of locker room do you have? Because I can tell you, I've been on teams where there were upperclassmen or even guys that were sophomores that it took an adjustment period to get used to younger guys, to freshmen being those go-to guys, being the high volume guys. But I do think it's one of the biggest things I circled before the season, watching Malik Thomas, watching his high school stuff, was like, Cal's got to cut him loose. You're like the best outcome you're going to get from Malik Thomas is a cut loose Malik Thomas.
Yes.
And so that's going to come with somebody's going to be a casualty there for minutes, whether it's Carter Knox, whether it's DJ Wagner. I think Billy Richmond brings you so much defensively. And
Yes.
I think a lot of times he brings you a lot on the glass too, rebounding from that guard wing spot, that he's even tough to take off the floor sometimes. But you're right. Like I think that's hard for some guys to adjust to. And the sooner they adjust to that, I think the better, but it's not easy.
I really think that long-term, the best lineup that you're going to see for this Arkansas team is going to end up being those two freshman guards with Brazil, with Billy Richmond, and with one of the bigs out there. Whichever bigs decide that they want to start scoring and start rebounding and start playing some defense, like that'll be the five that I think you see Cal end up really riding with here when you get to kind of crunch time minutes.
And I'm not saying Cal, is rooting for one guy or another to emerge, but you talked about hashtag noticing. I'm also noticing Cal was asked a question by Rothstein during that game, during the break, during a timeout. And he was asked a completely separate question, and he interrupted Rothstein and said, "Oh, did you see Malik Ewan's defense, though? You see Malik Ewan's defense?" In a good way. He had great ball pressure. You need ball pressure when Cam Boozer's out there, as a 5-out. He wants Malik Ewan to take that step defensively. Because, as much as Pringle's great, I think more in that,
Ewan's the guy with potential. Ewan averaged 15 and 8 last year in the ACC. He is the guy
he knows
actually, he can go out there and produce. Pringle's just this respectfully, Nick, if you're listening, he's out there to be a body, right? He's out there to go give you 5 fouls, to be big, be athletic, get some offensive rebounds, and just kind of go run around and be, 6'9" and 230. Whereas Malik Ewan is the guy that we've seen be a 15-point per game scorer in the ACC on a bad team as a big guy. That's not easy to do.